So let's bring in Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona. Congressman, we know there are concerns about the air in East Palestine and that whole area, because this extends quite a ways. Concerns about the soil, concerns about the water, which is what this extensive press conference would be dealing with. You also have your own concerns as far as Transportation Secretary, what the Biden administration has done or not done to ensure the safety of citizens of Ohio.
Yeah, I mean, Secretary Buttigieg seems awfully late to this situation, and he's been diverted. He's been talking about other things, but he's not addressing this issue. This is a very real issue that requires basically a full government approach to respond. I mean, Congress is going to definitely do an investigation here. We want to know what happened. But Pete Buttigieg is talking instead of this. He's talking about whether there's enough people of color in construction worker jobs getting grants from the federal government. It's just another example of disconnect. We need them on the ground. We need them. They're talking about what they're going to do to remediate this situation and investigate what happened so we can prevent this from happening again.
Is this further, I would say, evidence that this administration really doesn't care about Americans and instead cares more about their agenda, similar to what you meant about what you just mentioned regarding Buttigieg?
Yeah, I think so. They're so interested in their let's face it, they're ideologues. And so if there's something that's going to further their ideology or their woke doctrine, then they're going to talk about that, and they'll use every situation to talk about that. But if there's a real crisis that impacts real American people, that they're going to let it go. They're not. They seem disinterested. I guess that's the word I would use with regard to this. It takes him 10 days to even respond, and I say, this guy's just simply disinterested in what's going on in a portion of Ohio that will actually have ramifications for people not just in that area, but spreading out. And so why is he disinterested? My guess is because he views them as politically expedient, and not related to the crazy woke doctrine that he intends to promote at every situation.
Well, one almost might wonder, there's no simple solution, apparently, or they might have to work. Buttigieg, remember, took the job as Transportation Secretary during a pandemic in which he was on parental leave, yet nobody knew that initially, even as there were travel problems. Now you have no urgency whatsoever, while the people in eastern Ohio are very worried not only about what's happening today, but what could happen in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I mean, well, think about it, too. If this stuff is dangerous for cancer, invokes cancer on people, this could have life-changing ramifications. Yeah. And so when you talk about this lack of interest and failure to participate in cleaning this up, don't forget he was the guy that oversaw this massive supply chain disaster.
Right.
When you had ships sitting in the harbor at Long Beach in LA that couldn't get in, because he simply was so disinterested, he wasn't going to do anything to ameliorate the situation. And that's what I see here, and that's the concern I have, not just with, of course, Pete Buttigieg, but the entire Biden administration. Yeah. If it's not agendized for political purposes, they're not going to get involved to help the American people.
Yeah, and Congressman, while we have you, speaking of things being politicized, 3 weeks ago, AT&T DirecTV dropped Newsmax from its lineup. AT&T has subsequently lost $5 billion, I believe it was, in market value. Yeah, $10 billion in market value. But really, this is being described as a business decision, but we're learning more and more it's simply more about not wanting different views on a platform for Americans to experience.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and justifiably that they would lose market share. They claim that this was a market decision. Well, then go ahead and lose market share for your censorship, because that's what we've seen here. And it's also consistent with what we're seeing there's grants that have gone out to basically say NPR and these left-wing organizations are really reliable. But if you're a conservative news organization, you're not so reliable. So you got the federal government doing that. You've got AT&T attacking Newsmax and OAN and Fox in response to what Democrat calls for censorship. You want to talk about what an authoritarian government looks like? You just start. The story we were just talking about, disinterest in what really matters to the people. Number one, and then number two, start to censor and use your police state, all of the federal government apparatus, to go after people who have contrary points of view, and that's what you see.
Congressman, we appreciate your time. Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.